In the last video, we spent some time on the Typekit website selecting typefaces that we think we want to use within this web design. We were then able to sync them to the Creative Cloud, making them available to Photoshop. What you probably want to do when you're ready to create your mockup is set up something called paragraph styles. Paragraph styles give you the ability to remember styling information and easily apply it to different pieces of content. The great thing about styles is if you ever want to update the look, all you have to do is change the style itself, and all text within the document that is formatted using that style will be automatically updated. I'm working with this document called styles.psd, and we're going to use this for demonstration purposes. We're going to look at how we can set up paragraph styles, how we can apply them, and how we can make changes or adjustments to the styles. Now, I will say this, you would never set up styles in a different document than the actual mockup file, and the reason for that is, as of this recording, you can't share styles across documents inside of Photoshop. They're document specific. But like I said, I want to go through the process so you're comfortable with working with paragraph styles. Clearly, it's important to have your paragraph styles panel open. If you don't see it over here on the right, you can always come up to the window menu, and under the window menu, you'll choose paragraph styles. To get started, what you want to do is press T on your keyboard to activate the type tool. Then you can come over and select H1. We want to format this H1 element with one of the typefaces that we selected from the Typekit website. So we can come up here towards the top in the options bar and start typing in the name of that font, which is Muso. Once you start typing that in, it should become selected. You can tab away from it to apply that typeface to the selected type, and then you can come over and choose something like a size. I'll go ahead and increase this, and we're going to repeat that process. I'm going to select H2, and I'm going to come over and choose that same font. In this case, I'll leave the size alone. Then I'll come over and highlight H3. I'll select that same font, and this time I'm going to reduce the size. Then you want to come over and highlight subheading. In this case, we want to use that second typeface that we selected from Typekit. So coming up here towards the top, we can start typing that in, which happens to be Source Sans Pro. So start typing that out until it becomes selected. You can tab away from it, and then you can choose a size. In this case, I'm going to go with 24 points. Then I'll come over and highlight body text. With body text selected, we're going to come over and choose that same Source Sans Pro typeface, and I'm going to go ahead and reduce the size further. So we've set up all of the type, and this is essentially what we want the text to look like. I'll go ahead and zoom in a little bit. What we want to do now is set up our paragraph styles. So again, press T on your keyboard to activate the type tool, click and drag around H1. Then you can come over to the Paragraph Styles panel and click this button right here, which is the New Paragraph Style button. Now, you can't hold down Option or Alt to automatically open a dialog box. What you have to do is click it, allow Photoshop to give it the default paragraph style name, double-click it to open that dialog box, and here you can type in what you want the style name to actually be. So we'll type in H1. If you look at this dialog box, you'll notice you have several different options for controlling the appearance of the style. Not only can you choose the font family and the font style, but also the size, the weight. All these options are available. And if you use a program like InDesign, you'll see that there's more advanced options over here on the left-hand side. But for now, this looks good. We can come over and click OK. And we just need to repeat that process. So I'm going to come over and highlight H2. I'm going to click this same button, double-click Paragraph Style 1, and rename it H2. I'll come over and click OK. And I'll do the same thing for H3. Unfortunately, there's no quicker way of doing this. You have to double-click the default paragraph style. Let's come over and highlight subheading. And we'll double-click it, and we'll call this subheading. And then finally, we'll do the same thing for body text. And I'll just go ahead and call it body. So once you have all your styles set up, you're probably asking yourself, how can you apply these styles to different pieces of text? Well, let's go ahead and set up some different pieces of text as an example. What I'll do is click here, and I'll type in heading. I'll choose a different font so we can actually see this change take place once we apply the style. And then I'm going to come over and choose the type tool again. I'm going to click and drag out a text area. Then I'll come up to the type menu and I'll choose paste lorem ipsum. So here we have some text. Clearly it's not styled using our paragraph styles. What we want to do is just come over and select the layer, so in this case where it reads heading, and you can press the T key in your keyboard to activate the type tool, open up your paragraph styles panel, and click the paragraph style you want to apply. In this case, it's going to be H1. Now when you do that, you won't see a change immediately, and the reason for that is we styled this type using a different font and size on purpose up here in the options bar. So we're seeing a little plus sign here, which is called an override. What Photoshop is doing is overriding our style with our preferences that we configured up here in the options bar. It's an easy fix. You just have to come up here to the top right-hand corner of the panel and choose Clear Override. Then you'll notice your heading is being styled just like the H1 paragraph style. We can do the same thing now for our lorem ipsum body text. With that layer selected and the type tool still active, you can come down here and choose body. Again, we won't see a change until we clear that override, and you'll notice it now appears just like our body text style. So what happens if you change the style? No big deal. Double-click body, and let's do something like change the color. To red, it'll be fairly obvious. You can already see the change take place. And that's really the power of styles. It gives you the ability to play with different options. You could even change the typeface, the size, and all of those changes would carry through all the instances of type that you have styled using that style. Again, I just want to emphasize that you would set this up in your actual mock-up document. You wouldn't create a separate document for it because you can't share these styles. But styles can be a real time saver and a great way to experiment with different looks as you create your mock-up inside of Photoshop.